up, you guys? My name is Abby Asselin. If you are new here, hi, and if you aren't new here, what's up? Welcome back. I am so excited for today's video. I asked you guys questions on my Instagram story, not really questions, but I told you guys to send me your assumptions about college. Some of you guys took it as assumptions about me in college and my life in college, but I was kind of meaning more of like assumptions in general about college, if you know what I mean. And I just thought this would be really fun. I know everyone does like reacting to your assumptions about me videos, and I've done one before about a year ago. If you want to check that out on my channel, I'll leave a link down below. But I wanted to do a video reacting to assumptions about college because I feel like a lot of people assume things about college. And just a little background on me, if you know nothing about me, I actually just finished up undergrad yesterday. Yesterday I took my very last final. I went to the University of Alabama for 4 years, and I'm going for one more year for my graduate master's degree, whatever you want to call it. And I majored in accounting and finance and specialized in professional accounting, and then I'm getting my master's in tax accounting. So that's a little bit about me. I held a TA position as an econ TA for micro and macro for 2 years. Thought that this video would probably attract some new viewers, so I wanted to get all the housekeeping out of the way about who I am and everything. So be sure to subscribe if you are new here. I pretty much post a lot of college and lifestyle stuff. That's kind of my thing. And follow me on my social media. It's always linked down below. I also have a podcast called the Gen Z Girl Podcast. And yeah, I just hope that you guys stay in touch with me. I love interacting with you guys. Okay, so assumption number one for you guys. This one says, most people, especially freshman year, pretend they are having the best time ever, but really aren't. It looks way more fun than it actually is due to social media. So I definitely think that social media is a highlight reel, and I think a lot of people fake the extent of the good time they have. And I know for a fact everyone goes through some type of struggle freshman year. It's just that nobody's gonna sit there and post on social media, hey, I'm struggling with this. They just want to showcase the good and the high moments. A lot of people freshman year try to make what they're doing look way more fun just because it is a way for them to feel like they fit in. But college truly is such a great and fun time to enjoy yourself and make the most of your free time and have a good time. So I wouldn't necessarily say people fake the amount of fun they're having, because I feel like when people do post those moments, most of the time they actually did have as much fun as it looks. But there's also times where you may go out or go to some kind of band party or something and it was not fun at all and you don't want to be there, but you still post something, if that makes sense. Next assumption, I really thought I would have all the free time in the world. Facts, big facts. If all you're doing is taking your classes, then you probably do have a lot of free time, like way more free time than you'll have any other time in your life. You definitely have more free time than high school if you played a sport in high school or took AP or DE classes in high school or did a lot of extracurriculars, just because high school is such a large chunk of your day whenever you go to school. If you're doing what you're supposed to do and getting involved in other areas besides taking your classes in college, then you're not gonna have a lot of free time, or at least not as much as you think. You'll be kind of like, where is this whole freedom thing at? I thought I was supposed to have all this free time to do whatever I wanted and go out and all this stuff. But if you're in a challenging major and you're getting involved like you're supposed to, then you're probably not gonna have as much free time as you thought. But like I said, in college, I definitely have way more free time than I'll ever have in my future life down the road, just because it's a lot less time than like an 8 to 5 job, if that makes sense. I also choose to fill my schedule and load it with so much. You know, I'm a YouTuber full-time. It's literally a full-time job, and I have a podcast. I am involved in like 2 extracurriculars at school that take up a bit of time, that are like volunteer based. And I am a TA, or I was. I guess I can't really say I am anymore, but it's a lot on top of like having 2 majors and everything too. Next assumption is business majors don't do any work. So many people love to hate on business majors, and I just think it's because there are definitely majors within the business school that don't do as much work as say like a nursing or engineering major would necessarily. But with that said, I'm not here to hate on any majors personally, and since I have 2 majors in accounting and finance, I've taken both of those course loads, and I don't think finance compares to accounting. You can study 2 or 3 days before a test for finance and be fine. If you do that for accounting, good luck to even get a C. So it's just very, very different. And that's just my experience personally. And I've even taken 3 upper division econ classes, and I just don't feel like that's as hard. That's very class dependent on like which econ class you're taking and everything, but in my experience they have not been as rigorous as accounting's been. So I guess generally with that assumption, business majors don't do any work. No, but if you're a certain business major, you may be doing less than a lot of other people, because I feel like there's so many people who hate accounting majors because we talk about how hard it is and stuff, and they like act like accounting is their life and everything, but it's because it truly is when you're in college. You can't judge one major based off of the entire school that it's involved in, just because majors, statistically speaking, have a lot less work than some of the other majors in the business school. I will say that the business school in general, I feel like they go out and party more and stuff though than other majors. I don't know what it is. I guess it is the majors that have the more of the free time and stuff, so I don't know. Next assumption, partying is big, but you can avoid it if you want to. So I think this is very true, especially at Alabama. It's obviously a big SEC state university, and obviously partying and that whole scene in general is really big. In the fall, your weekends revolve around football. You'll probably do work on Sunday, but Friday night, Saturday night, it's generally going to be dedicated to, you know, going out or hanging out with friends or the football game of the weekend. With that said, you can totally attend parties, you can totally go to bars and do all of that stuff without actually like partaking in it. You don't have to like drink every time you go out. You don't have to drink every time you go to a party and stuff like that. So you can just be there socially, which is like one of the reasons I love going out. I don't love going out because I love the drink. I love going out because I get to see my friends in a fun environment instead of just sitting at home with them, which we could do any day of the week, if that makes sense. For me personally, my kind of like trajectory through the whole party scene in college was like, I didn't do anything my freshman year because I knew nobody. I think I went to a frat house twice my freshman year, and that was to see Waka Flocka, and I saw someone else and I can't remember. And that's pretty much the extent of my partying freshman year, and it wasn't even really partying. Sophomore, junior year was mainly just like hanging out at home and having like more house party type of things with my neighbors and with friends. And then into my junior, senior year, once I became of age, that's when I started going out and going to bars and stuff. I actually did it the right way, didn't have a fake ID or anything, so that was just my personal experience. I think that as you get older, the whole partying scene simmers down a lot, especially going to frat parties and like frat houses. The older you get, the lower tolerance you have for just idiots and stinky basements that smell like beer and feet and sweat. It just gets a lot more chill and you start going to bars instead of frat houses or having nights in with your friends, in my experience. You get mountains of homework every week. So this obviously depends on your major, but once you get into upper division, I definitely think that at times you will have a ton of homework. Generally speaking, for me, every month or month and a half, I have like a 4 or 5 day period where I don't have to do that much work or studying. But I think in general, I am working most of the time. And that's also because I double majored. So I think that it definitely depends on your major. But once you get in upper division, I think you have a lot more projects and like actual work that takes a lot more effort, as opposed to just completing your weekly homework assignments every week when you're in lower division. Next, it's not possible to get straight A's. So this is false. Many people graduate with a perfect 4.0 average. That doesn't mean that they made all straight A's though, because at Alabama we have the plus and minus system, which means that, you know, you can make a B plus or an A minus, which is lower than a 4.0 scale, and make a couple A pluses and it'll compensate for that and you'll still have a 4.0. I have plenty of friends who have graduated, you know, with red cap at Alabama. If you graduate with 4.0, you get a red cap. I was really close. I have like a 3.92 when I graduate, I think, but they base it off of the fall semester of your senior year. My fall semester, I had like a 3.89999, so whatever. College is not organized and you have to make your own schedule. Abso-freaking-lutely. I think a lot of people expect that they will just be able to follow this schedule once they get into college and they don't really have to do anything for themselves. But truly, college takes a ton of self-discipline and motivation. If you don't have discipline as a college student, you are really going to struggle. You're not going to be able to get your homework done. You're not really going to be able to study. You're going to be pushing things off till their last minute, literally all the time, if you don't have any discipline. The only structure you have in college is the times that you have to go to class, and then the rest of your days and nights are up to you. And if you're someone who grew up and you had things done for you constantly, like cleaning, cooking, and you know, you haven't really worked before, I honestly think you're going to struggle. And then if you just kind of like did the bare minimum in high school, I think you're probably going to struggle and have a little bit of a culture shock when you get to college if you want to do well. and that's just my personal opinion. I think that if you grow up kind of getting more independence as you get older in high school and doing things for yourself, you develop that discipline, and then you carry that discipline into college, and you tend to do a lot better in college than the average person. Next, you need to have your major figured out before you get there. So no, I don't think this is true, just because it's insane that we are expected to know what we want to do with our life at 18 years old whenever we go into a college, when we've taken no relevant courses thus far. Like, what does algebra 2, what does trigonometry have to do with anything most of us will be doing in our future career? I don't know. I'm not hating on math. I personally love math, but like that just doesn't make sense to me, and it's crazy that we are supposed to kind of like have an idea of that at 18 years old. I do think though that you need to have an idea of the field you want to go into. You know, talk to people who are in that field already when you're going into college. Get some mentors, maybe some of your parents' friends, your parents themselves, or maybe some of your teachers that previously worked in the field. Try and get to know them and just kind of figure out what area you want to go into. I had no idea. I think I applied to all my colleges under psychology. What? And I ended up, before school started, I switched to finance, and then whenever school started, I switched to MIS, and I was MIS for like 3 weeks, but it didn't even mean anything because I was a freshman. And then I switched back to finance, and then I added accounting my sophomore year. So that was kind of like how mine went. I just would recommend not changing your major after lower division, because then you'd have to go and like take a ton of other prerequisites when you just wasted 2 years already taking prerequisites. Your grades freshman year will determine the rest of your college career. So I think this is true. Just because I think it's a lot easier to just push for A pluses and A's and A minuses in all of those beginning courses than it is to get those grades in the really hard, rigorous courses down the road. For me personally, since I was doing absolutely nothing my freshman year and didn't really know anyone, I put a lot of time and effort into my studies, and I pushed to get A pluses in like all my classes. Did I get A pluses in all my classes? No, but I made all A's and some A pluses, and I think that that gave me the biggest, the nicest, juiciest cushion for going into my upper division classes, which were way harder, and I didn't have to worry as much about making a B plus or a B or a B minus and 1C, you know, that kind of thing. So I think it's a lot easier to start strong and then kind of like give yourself some leeway down the road than it is to just not care at all your freshman year, start on a bad note, and then build it up from there, because it's a lot harder to build up when you're going into harder classes, if that makes sense. And just to give some insight, my whole college career, I was able to afford getting 1C in intermediate accounting 2. I got 6 B pluses and 1 B minus, and then the rest was A minus, A plus, A's, and graduating with like a 3.9. So that's kind of an idea of that. My accounting GPA is literally almost an entire point below my overall GPA because I made straight B's and a C basically. Next, you live off loans and can't enjoy anything. I feel that. For some people this is true, unfortunately, and others it's far from the truth. My freshman year, I literally lived off of $50 every 2 weeks, and that was just like my budget, and it was really, really hard. I like never really could eat out. I feel like money really controlled my life my freshman year, just because I was constantly like worried about, you know, the money in my bank account. I don't have much. How am I going to pay for my textbooks? And I was like constantly stressing out. And I think it was a big culture shock for me too, going from high school to college. Like money was a very prevalent thing, I feel like, in the culture in my high school. Just because there's always those families and those people that just like grew up in money, and then going to college, I just realized it was amplified, and I felt a lot more pressure to have all these cute outfits and nice things that I was seeing everywhere. Like I didn't know what like half of the designer brands were until I was a freshman in college. I didn't know what Lululemon was until I was a freshman in college. Like I had never heard of any of these things. So it was like definitely getting out of my like hometown bubble. I'm on a full ride scholarship that pays all my tuition. It didn't pay my room and board and didn't pay for textbooks, but I had student loans for all 4 years. So that paid for, you know, the dorms, some of my rent throughout the year, and I'm in a completely different position now thanks to YouTube, and I'm very grateful for that. But I do think that some people have to live off the loans, and it's really unfortunate, and I'm really sorry if that's your situation. Just never try to conform to the pressures to have everything that everyone around you has, and, you know, live within your means. Don't feel, it's really easy to feel pressure that you have to like look a certain way, dress a certain way, have certain things, but that at the end of the day literally does not matter. Next one, having a boyfriend takes away your fun. So I've been dating my boyfriend. I'm at his house right now in quarantine, and I've been dating him for 2.5 years. We started dating really early on into my sophomore year, and I was actually in a relationship all of my freshman year with someone like from home, and that relationship ended like pretty much right when sophomore year started. And I think it personally depends on who you date. It shouldn't ever be this way to where like you don't have fun because you're in a relationship. I know a lot of girls go through a phase in relationships in the beginning, like in your honeymoon phase, I guess you could say, where you're doing anything and everything possible to keep the guy around, please him, make him happy. I'm personally that way. I will like literally go above and beyond to make the other person happy because I want them in my life so badly. And I think that if I overcompensate in that area, that it'll keep them around, when in reality that's not like sustainable. And that's just the truth. Some girls are like that, and it's just the girls who are really passionate and have a big heart, and that's me. But ultimately, it shouldn't ever take away your fun. It's really important to find someone to date where you can go out with their friends and they can go out with yours. Not necessarily that that's the case every single time, because you also need to have your own individual lifestyles. And I think that that comes with time and maturity. I think initially in my boyfriend and I's relationship, we mainly hung out with each other, but it's just because we were in that like honeymoon phase or whatever. But we were never like exclusively with each other. He hung out with his friends a lot still. I hung out with my friends a lot still. I went places with his friends, he went places with mine, and then we went places separately, and we still do that now. Just don't date someone that keeps you from your friends and doesn't want you to have your own lifestyle. Like, it's really important to still have your own independence and your own lifestyle within a relationship, so that your whole life isn't consumed by that relationship. Next, cliques go away for the most part, and everyone is more easygoing than in high school. Yes, I definitely think this is true. I used to think girls were so judgy for me not being in a sorority and everything, but I think that was my own insecurity for not being in a sorority my freshman year, just because all the girls freshman year that rushing is like their life that year, and I don't blame them. Like, it's this huge amazing thing for them, and they get to throw themselves, you know, into all these people from different places, and you're meeting a ton of new people, so who wouldn't be excited about that? You know what I mean? You're literally a part of something bigger than yourself. As soon as you get into college, which is a dream for everyone, because you don't want it to take, like, we're all impatient and we want to immediately find our friends and immediately find our place within our first week of college. But if you don't rush, that's gonna take like 2 years. So, and as long as you are nice and a good person, they're gonna be nice and a good person in my experience. There are some crappy people out there, but I honestly think that you don't really come across it if you're not surrounding yourself with it. But I think for the most part, each person has their own individual friends, and then a lot of people are a part of a bigger friend group, but me personally, I just have my own individual friends. Next assumption, it's going to be the best 4 years of your life. Absolutely, at least life as we know it so far. And I love that. Like, I wouldn't have it any other way, and I had some really, really awful times, but I also had some really, really amazing times that I will never forget. And it's truly been the best experience ever, and the things I've learned and the people I've met, I would not change for the world. And it's just made me into who I am today, and I've literally grown so much as a person. I've matured so much. I know so much more than I did 4 years ago, about the world, about my major, obviously, and I would hope I knew more than I did coming in. And I just feel like I've really developed this strong, steadfast independence and strength that I wouldn't have gotten if I didn't go to college. It's strange to go to the dining hall alone. I'm gonna insert a picture right here that's on my Snapchat memories that came up actually a while ago, I think. But anyways, I ate at the dining hall a lot alone. I literally ate at the dining hall more alone than I did with other people. It really is strange, and I never really thought anyone was personally strange for doing it. Like, I never saw anyone that was eating alone and was like, wow, they're weird, because I was doing it. But a lot of people honestly do at the same time eat by themselves if it's between classes or before a class, especially around lunch and breakfast time. But I feel like for dinner, most of the time, people are eating with other people, so it was always a little weird. Next assumption, it's hard to find someone to have a relationship with if you're looking for one. Abso-freaking-lutely. So I say this mainly because 98% of the guys in college truly are not on the same like mental and emotional maturity as we are as women. And some women aren't even there either, but I feel like for the most part, most of the girls are way ahead of the guys in terms of maturity. And the girls are kind of like looking for a lifelong partner at that point for the most part. There are those girls who are just looking for someone that just kind of have fun with and be around. But I think for the most part, most girls are kind of trying to figure out who they want to be with long term. Even if they don't think they're going to marry that person, they're trying to figure out what they do and don't like. And then the guys are just like not wanting a relationship, and they just want someone to kind of like spend time with when they want to spend time with them. I just think it's best to figure yourself out first and know what you want out of a relationship, know if you like truly want to be in one, and don't compromise that or settle for less, because I think a lot of times we just take the first thing that comes our way, and that's just, I feel like, the mindset of a lot of girls. And they don't mean to be like that, but I think that someone gives you the time of day and the attention and you're just like, oh, give it to me, when in reality you may be compromising a lot of like what you actually want. And there definitely are guys looking for relationships, with all that said, but most of them, I would say, don't really want a long-term commitment until it's later in college. Next question or assumption is everyone is just trying to hook up. So I'm personally not into that hookup culture, whatever you want to call it, and I never have been, but I'm just like more of an emotional person, and I would never put myself in a situation where I can't really be emotional with someone because of something like hookup culture. But yes, I would say a vast majority of like people in college are submerged in that, and that's just what they're doing. And I think it's largely because that's what everyone around them is doing, and also because a lot of people don't know what they want, and that's just what people settle for. People expect that coming into college, so they do that their first few years, and then after that it's kind of like, why, what were they doing, what were we doing, you know what I mean? Next assumption, you can't make friends if you're not in a sorority. And I got a bunch saying you wish you would have joined a sorority. I definitely don't wish I would have joined one, and I say that because, one, it's stupid expensive, especially at Alabama. Like, it's literally, I think average at Alabama is $4,000 a semester, and then it's even more than that if you live in house and everything. And I would have been paying for it with my own money, and up until my senior year, I straight up didn't have that money to spend on a sorority, so it literally wouldn't have been possible unless I was using student loans, which is really stupid. I also feel like I've done a 180 as a person since my freshman year. A lot of my friends who like have known me since high school, or who knew me my freshman year and know me now, agree that I am not the same person. Just starting a YouTube channel has really helped me kind of like blossom into who I am, as cheesy as that sounds, and it's helped me like figure out a lot more about myself and be more comfortable with being myself and being more social, because I used to just be this like crippling introvert that like just really struggled with everything. And I feel like if I would have rushed freshman year, I wouldn't belong in that sorority still right now, if that makes sense. I definitely did struggle socially my freshman year and then a little bit into my sophomore year, and that's just based off of what I said earlier. It's because it is what everyone's life revolves around freshman year at a big university, is rushing, or at least that's what it feels like. But there certainly are people who didn't do it. It's just harder to come across them, I guess, because they're all staying quiet instead of throwing out there that they're in a sorority, if that makes sense. But you can totally make friends outside of a sorority. Will it happen as quickly? No, you definitely make friends a lot more quickly if you rush, but I don't think that you need to be on some certain time schedule for making friends, because I think the right people will come your way if you put yourself out there and get out of your comfort zone, and if you're patient. And the first week was honestly one of the hardest weeks of my life, just because everyone already had a friend group from going through rush before school started, and was already sitting with people in their classes on the very first day. And I was like, how do you people know each other already? This is our very first day of class. And in the dining halls and in the dorms and everything, you just really feel like you started school a month later than everyone else or something like that. But once you get more into your major classes and like your specific classes for your major, you'll meet more people, you'll become friends with more people, and as long as you're putting yourself out there and getting involved, you're gonna meet people. Next assumption is you always break up with your high school boyfriend when you go to college. I think this is true with like very, very few exceptions. I just don't think going into college while being in a relationship is the smartest thing in the world. And for some people it works, whatever, but I'm honestly going to encourage my children down the road. Obviously I'm not going to control who they date and when they date and everything like that, but because that's totally up to them. But I will advise them not to go into college in a relationship, just because I feel like whenever you are carrying something from home into a new place, that is like your security blanket, and you don't realize it while you're in it, because I didn't see this until I looked back in hindsight, but it makes you more comfortable, so you cling on to that comfort because it feels secure, and you don't put yourself out there because that's what you're clinging on to. I think that a lot of people can make it work, and it's great for them and everything. I'm not judging people who do it by any means, but it takes a lot of trust and communication, and honestly most relationships just don't really have that at that young of an age. There is a lot of underage drinking, yeah, for sure. yeah, it's not unavoidable by any means. It's definitely very prevalent, especially at big schools like football schools, not even schools that aren't football schools. If it's just like a big school, and all colleges in general, I think, I mean, it's there, it's prevalent, but that doesn't mean you can't avoid it. Like, you can literally do what you want to do just because that seems to be the overarching culture there. There's a lot of like subcultures that you can kind of like dive into. It just depends on who you surround yourself with. Next assumption, your grade is determined by very few tests in upper division. I think this is generally very true. In my experience, all my upper division classes have had 2 to 4 tests that are each like 25% and up of a portion of your grade, and then you probably have like a project that's like worth 10%, or some kind of like homework assignment or some other kind of group project that's worth 10%, and then like the other 90% is your test. Okay, last assumption. This video is so long, I'm so sorry, I could talk for forever, but colleges are diverse bubbles that the outside world hasn't caught up with yet. So it's interesting because I got a lot of assumptions saying college isn't diverse, and then I got a lot saying like Alabama isn't diverse, and then this one I loved because it said colleges are diverse bubbles that the outside world hasn't caught up with yet, and I think that couldn't be more true. I think some areas like in the world are just as diverse as colleges, such as like New York, Los Angeles, things like that. But yes, I mean, colleges are so diverse because when you think about it, so many people are coming from all over the nation, worldwide, like literally other countries. I mean, there's people in state, there's people from out of state, and just between state borders, cultures are completely different. And then when you factor in international students, it really is just like this melting pot of all these different people from different walks of life for 4 years, and you're just kind of like meshing together, and I think it's a beautiful thing. If your school is in the middle of nowhere, this is even true. Tuscaloosa is in the middle of nowhere, and it seriously is so diverse. I mean, a lot of people assume it's not, and that truly is just based off of who you follow on social media and the people you surround yourself with. If you don't think it's diverse, it's because you're not putting yourself in a situation to experience the diversity. And if you don't think it's diverse from the outside, then you're just following all predominantly one culture and on social media, I guess you could say. So it definitely is super diverse, and I love that about college because it's so many different like walks of life, so many different, you know, opinions, and so many different cultures, and all these people coming together, and we all have like this one thing in common, that we go to school together. And there's so much opportunity to meet people from other places, and it's really awesome. It's really important to always have challenging people in your life to make you stand for what you stand for even stronger, because it helps you develop your opinion, if that makes sense. And that goes for everything. That goes for political stuff, educational stuff, like everything. So that is all of the assumptions, you guys. I hope this video like gave you some insight into like what college is like. At least, you know, I go to the University of Alabama. I don't even know if I mentioned that at the beginning, but I have had the best 4 years of my life. I can't believe that my undergrad experience is over, but I am beyond grateful and excited to be going to Alabama and again next year for my master's in tax. So I'm super pumped, and I hope that this kind of gave you guys some insight into college life, college culture, and what I think to be true based off my experience, and what I think is kind of like based off my experience. So I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Be sure to follow me on social media and check out my other videos, vlogs, and all that stuff. Subscribe down below and give this video a thumbs up if you enjoyed it, and I will see you guys in my next video. Bye.